Right now, there's a need to restore fairness and functionality in our country.
The Prime Minister is also engaging with the premiers on big projects of national interest. Alberta wants one of those projects to be a new pipeline that crosses provincial borders. Premier Danielle Smith is set on convincing her BC counterpart to get on board.
Danielle Smith has just delivered a seismic announcement, a 1 million barrel per day pipeline aimed at transforming Alberta's energy game. Unveiled on June 24, 2025, this bold move targets BC's ports and Asia's markets, bypassing Ottawa's infamous red tape. It's Alberta's daring answer to Canada's energy challenges. The proposed pipeline is massive. With a capacity of 1 million barrels per day, it's set to connect Alberta's oil reserves to British Columbia's northwest coast. The focus is on key export hubs like Prince Rupert and Kitimat, ports that open the door to energy-hungry markets in Asia. These aren't just shipping points. They're gateways to some of the fastest-growing economies in the world.
That we need to do to address some of the objections, but I think that the Team Canada spirit's going to prevail in the end.
This pipeline isn't just an infrastructure project. It's a statement. It's about Alberta breaking free from dependence on U.S. markets and showing that it can lead on the global stage. Danielle Smith is making it clear Alberta won't let federal policies like the Impact Assessment Act, often called No More Pipelines Ever Bill, hold it back.
I can tell you that we have been talking with all of the pipeline companies since I first got elected and said that we would like to double our oil and gas production as we seek ways to reduce emissions.
Alberta is already the backbone of Canada's energy sector, producing millions of barrels of oil every day and contributing $20 billion annually to the national economy. Now, Smith is doubling down on this strength. She's not waiting for federal approval or letting delays stop Alberta's progress. This pipeline is more than just a tool to move oil. It's about creating opportunities, building new trade routes, and opening Alberta up to the world. Danielle Smith's message is simple. Alberta is ready to lead, and this pipeline is the first step in making that happen.
I'm saying that I'm going to convince David Eby of it because I know that this is good for the country. I know that he's on Team Canada, and I can't imagine in the end that if we meet the issues that have been raised by British Columbia.
And Alberta isn't putting all its eggs in one basket. If British Columbia throws up more roadblocks, Danielle Smith has a backup plan, the Port of Churchill in Manitoba. Located in the Arctic, Churchill offers year-round access to Europe, supported by icebreakers. It's a strategic masterstroke that could bypass BC's infamous tanker bans and Ottawa's red tape entirely. This isn't just about moving oil. It's about moving forward. Alongside the pipeline, Smith envisions an ambitious infrastructure overhaul, LNG terminals, propane export facilities, and railway expansions to create a high-powered trade corridor. Alberta's message is clear. This is about energy independence and seizing global opportunities. What truly sets this pipeline apart is its groundbreaking emphasis on Indigenous ownership. This isn't a symbolic gesture or a box-ticking exercise. It's a genuine partnership. Danielle Smith has made it clear that Indigenous communities will play a leading role, not as peripheral stakeholders, but as equal partners. This approach reflects a shift in how energy projects are conceptualized and executed in Canada.
This has been a really important step. It's coming together to share the opportunity and the risk of energy projects with our Indigenous neighbours. I'm First Nation, so I will say also my home nation and the Métis communities in our province.
We've already underwritten $750 million in that kind of equity ownership. We intend to do more. That's why we increased the loan guarantee to $3 billion, but that would be an essential part of it as well, yes.
Alberta's Indigenous Opportunities Corporation has already laid a strong foundation by facilitating $750 million in equity stakes for Indigenous groups in major energy projects. This success has demonstrated the transformative potential of integrating Indigenous ownership into large-scale developments. These equity stakes aren't just about revenue. They're about giving Indigenous communities a seat at the decision-making table, ensuring their voices are heard and their interests protected. Smith's pipeline plan takes inspiration from TC Energy's landmark $1 billion deal with 72 Indigenous communities. That agreement granted these communities a 5.34% ownership stake in a major pipeline project, making it the largest Indigenous equity deal in Canadian history. This precedent isn't just an example of what's possible, it's a blueprint for what Alberta intends to replicate and expand upon.
But you really can't have true sovereignty until you have financial sovereignty.
For Smith, this isn't just about reconciliation, though that's undeniably part of the story. It's about setting a new gold standard for energy projects in Canada. Indigenous ownership ensures that those most directly impacted by these developments have the power to shape them. This approach aligns perfectly with principles of economic inclusion and environmental stewardship. And let's not overlook the practical advantages. Indigenous communities have a vested interest in ensuring that projects are environmentally sustainable and economically viable. Who better to oversee the impact of a pipeline than the people whose land it traverses? This kind of ownership fosters accountability and creates a partnership model where everyone has a stake in the success of the project.
The Alberta Next panel will put Albertans in the driver's seat. It will give them the rightful opportunity to decide how Alberta can become stronger.
By prioritizing Indigenous equity, Smith's pipeline plan isn't just reshaping Alberta's energy strategy. It's redefining how Canada approaches reconciliation and resource development. It's a win-win scenario that delivers economic empowerment to Indigenous communities while ensuring that Alberta's energy resources are developed responsibly and sustainably. This isn't just progress, it's precedent-setting leadership that could transform the energy sector across the country.
When we voted in a referendum to trigger an equalization renegotiation, Ottawa ignored us. When we get other provinces on side to demand an overhaul of Bill C-69, the No New Pipelines Act, Ottawa ignored us.
Alberta's big plans for its energy future face a major hurdle: Ottawa. The federal government's Impact Assessment Act, better known as Bill C-69, has earned the nickname No More Pipelines Ever Bill. It's a frustrating piece of legislation that's made building pipelines nearly impossible. Over the past 10 years, this law has been blamed for Canada losing $500 billion in energy investments. That's not just a big number, it's a huge loss for the entire country.
They've killed several major pipeline and resource projects, driving away hundreds of billions in investment.
While Alberta struggles with endless rules to get its cleaner oil to market, Ottawa seems to be playing by a different set of rules. Oil from countries like Venezuela and Saudi Arabia, which have questionable environmental and human rights records, enters Canada with far fewer restrictions. It's a double standard that doesn't sit well with Albertans, or Danielle Smith. Smith isn't taking this lying down. She's come up with a two-part plan to push back. First, she's letting Ottawa stick to its endless paperwork if it wants to, but Alberta is taking a different route. Her focus is on fast-tracking projects through private funding and Indigenous partnerships. It's a bold move to get things done without waiting for federal approval. The Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion offers a mix of inspiration and warning for Alberta. On the bright side, the project increased capacity from 300,000 barrels per day to 890,000. That's a big win for Canada's energy exports, with shipments from Vancouver now reaching markets in Asia. It shows what's possible when pipelines are built. But there's a downside. The project's original budget was $4.7 billion, but delays and complications caused it to skyrocket to $35 billion. This left many private companies hesitant to take on similar large projects, worried about facing the same challenges.
If we have to get taxpayer dollars at the federal level to fund yet another pipeline, then that is a failure of the process. I think we failed at the exercise.
Danielle Smith is learning from these mistakes. She's working on a plan that avoids the problems that plagued Trans Mountain. By relying on private investments, Indigenous ownership, and a simpler provincial process, Alberta is showing it can move forward on its own terms. This isn't just about building a pipeline. It's about proving Alberta can succeed without waiting for Ottawa to catch up. Danielle Smith is taking a fresh approach to Alberta's energy future. She's not waiting around for federal approval or funding, which have often slowed down major projects. Instead, she's focusing on Indigenous partnerships and tapping into Alberta's own resources to reduce risks. It's a practical and forward-thinking strategy, one Alberta needs to avoid another costly fiasco like the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion.
I know that he's on Team Canada, and I can't imagine in the end that if we meet the issues that have been raised by British Columbia, that he would go off Team Canada. That doesn't seem to me to be the type of person that David Eby is. I think there's some concerns we have to address. We have to have a proponent. We have to make sure that we have a route.
If British Columbia continues to resist Alberta's plans, Smith has a backup: the Churchill Pipeline. Churchill, Manitoba, is home to Canada's only deep-water Arctic port. This isn't just any port. It's supported by icebreakers, making it a reliable year-round route to Europe. With Europe eager for cleaner energy sources that don't come from Russia, Churchill could be a game-changer for Canadian energy exports. The stars seem to be aligning for this alternative. Manitoba's Premier Wab Kinew has shown he's open to bold ideas, recently green-lighting the province's first gold mine in 15 years. The Churchill pipeline isn't just about moving Alberta's oil. It's about fostering a national energy alliance. Think about it. Alberta's oil, Manitoba's hydroelectric power, and Saskatchewan's nuclear energy all working together. This isn't just good for Alberta. It could position Canada as a global energy leader. Alberta's energy sector is the economic heartbeat of Canada, driving the nation's progress and prosperity. In 2024, the province reached a historic milestone, producing 3.6 million barrels of oil daily, with projections pointing to an impressive 4.7 million barrels per day by 2034. This is no small feat. Alberta's oil exports alone rake in $20 billion annually, providing critical funding for programs and infrastructure nationwide. From coast to coast, provinces benefit from Alberta's energy contributions, even those quick to raise objections to new pipelines.
It will give the people who live, work, and raise families in our great province the opportunity to share their voices, their values, and their ideas. What we hear will help us map out Alberta's future.
This irony hasn't escaped Danielle Smith. She's posed a direct and provocative question to British Columbia. Do you want to be part of Canada or not? It's a powerful statement that underscores the stakes at hand. Alberta isn't just fighting for its own interests. It's challenging the entire nation to recognize the value of collaboration and unity. Smith's challenge cuts through political niceties and gets to the heart of Canada's shared future. The stakes are massive, and Smith knows this. Her vision isn't limited to building pipelines. It's about reshaping the country's energy framework and creating opportunities for economic growth that benefit everyone. Whether the route leads through British Columbia to the Pacific or via Churchill's Arctic gateway to Europe, Alberta is determined to chart its path forward. Smith's approach also emphasizes Indigenous partnerships, environmental stewardship, and a refusal to wait for federal approval. It's bold, it's unapologetic, and it's precisely what's needed to overcome Canada's energy challenges. The big question remains, is Canada ready to back Alberta's ambition, or will politics and opposition hold the nation back? For Alberta, the path is clear. Progress must come, with or without unanimous support. The rest of the country now faces a choice: embrace this opportunity or risk being left behind.
But I would just rather let the process play out and see what the truth is. There's a lot of competing stories. There's a lot of truth, I think, that still needs to be on the table.
This pipeline is about more than just oil. It's a defining moment for Canada. Danielle Smith's bold proposal challenges regional divisions and federal roadblocks, aiming to create opportunities that benefit the entire nation. It's not just a policy, it's a statement of Alberta's determination to lead, innovate, and assert its autonomy. Smith's plan symbolizes what's possible when leadership meets decisive action. With a vision that prioritizes Indigenous partnerships, economic growth, and energy independence, Alberta is stepping up to rewrite Canada's energy future. But this fight isn't without challenges. Federal resistance, environmental pushback, and interprovincial tensions loom large. Yet, Alberta isn't backing down. As the stakes grow higher, this isn't just a debate about pipelines. It's a conversation about Canada's unity, economic stability, and global energy leadership. What happens next will shape the country for generations to come. If you want to stay updated, hit that subscribe button now. Don't miss out on the latest insights and discussions.